parents want my entire paycheck. So, 16F. Just got my first job about a month ago. Last week, I received my first paycheck, which was really exciting. One of the main reasons I got the job was so I could cover some of my own non-essential expenses: clothes, hobby supplies, room decor, and some food, since my mother, 52F, is a stay-at-home mom and has always been, and I didn't want to be a burden to my father, 56M. Before I even got my first paycheck, I had budgeted exactly how much I wanted to spend and what I wanted to spend it on, since I didn't want to blow it all. My plan was to save at least half and spend the rest. I'll admit I did spoil myself a bit. I bought some new clothes, a new sewing machine, and got my nails done. All of this was only about $180 out of $500. I also gave a portion to the church, as per my mother's request. I planned to put the rest into savings and not touch it. My mother is terrible with money, like blow through $800 in one day type of terrible. She's also always asking someone in the family for money, like my dad or my siblings, 22M and 21F, and they usually give it to her. But my sister's rent has gone up, and her work hours have been cut, so she doesn't have money to give out like she used to. My brother isn't working because he's only home for the summer, and my father also has new expenses. So basically, nobody has handouts for her anymore. That's why she decided to come to me. Since I received my paycheck, she's been acting kind of weird. When I got it, she wouldn't leave me alone until I told her how much it was, even though I wasn't comfortable sharing that information. Then she started talking about how, in her culture, I'm a first-generation American, the entirety of a child's first paycheck is given to the parents as a way to show thanks for raising them. I told her it's a good thing I wasn't born where she was, so I don't have to do that, and I thought she would stop. But then she brought up how it's been so long since she got a pedicure. It's been literally 3 weeks. I said okay, and then she asked if I would pay for it. I gave her $30, the amount our regular nail salon charges for pedicures, and she got upset, saying it wasn't enough. I told her I didn't have any more to spare, and she said I was being greedy. Okay, whatever. Then we went grocery shopping, which she paid for, as usual, with my brother's EBT card. I bought a few snacks and ingredients, and my food came up to about $27, which isn't bad since I share my snacks with my siblings and cook for them too. But then my mother started complaining, saying, if you're going to eat all that, then you're going to have to start paying for it too. It's rude to try and bankrupt your brother. I was upset that she was making comments about my eating habits. She's always making comments about my body, and frustrated that she was trying to get more money from me. So I told her to put all my snacks and stuff down, and I didn't really need them anyway. She got even more upset and said I was making a scene and being spoiled, but I just ignored her. The thing is, it's not just her. My father is acting like this too. First, I took a shower. I do take kind of long showers, usually around 30 minutes, but this was never a problem until now. He actually stormed into the bathroom, slammed the door open, super uncomfortable for me, but whatever, and told me that if I was going to waste his water, then I would have to start pitching in for the water bill. And he was serious, so now I don't shower when he's home to avoid conflicts like this. Then, he asked me to give him $50 to send to his family back home. I asked if he would pay me back, and he said he shouldn't have to, since he's never asked me to pay him back for raising me. Basically, I don't know. Maybe I'm actually just being too stingy? They're not wrong that they never asked me to pay them back for raising me, so maybe I do owe it to them? But also, I really don't make that much. And I think I should be allowed to spend my money how I want to. I'm going into my senior year, which is already so expensive, and I don't want to spend all my money in case of an emergency. I just really want to save, and they're not letting me do that. I don't know if they're entitled, or maybe I am. Sorry if this is too long. ETA. I can't believe I forgot this, but a few days ago, I fell asleep on the couch with my phone unlocked. Right after I dozed off, I felt someone grab my phone, which was next to my head. I woke up and saw my mother holding it. She gave it back, but she forgot or didn't know how to close recently used apps, so when I opened the phone, I saw that she had opened the Zelle app. I don't want to accuse her of anything, but I feel like if I'd woken up any later, she might have sent herself money or something. That was really weird. ETA 2. This is unrelated, but my mother just told me I was disappointing because I said I would vacuum later since I have really bad cramps right now. Rude. Edit. I took a break from this post because I was overwhelmed by all the comments and advice, but thanks everyone for reading and mostly being patient and helpful. To respond to a couple of things I keep seeing clearing up. Sorry for taking 30-minute showers, lol. Sorry that it's a tough pill for me to swallow, that a bunch of strangers on the internet are calling my parents abusive. I'm not saying anyone's wrong or right, and I seriously appreciate that you're all trying to help, but I'm not refusing solutions. It's just a lot to handle by myself. I'm kind of against talking to a trusted adult about all this, but it's not willful ignorance. I don't have any close family, so my only options would be a therapist or a school counselor. I can't see a therapist because my mother is anti-therapy, and talking to a school counselor is risky because they're required to report to CPS, which could put my mother at high risk of deportation. It's a personal issue I don't want to go into. I know it sounds like I'm being forced, but I am seriously a practicing Christian, and I enjoy giving to the church. I never minded giving to the church. It was just that the amount I was expected to give, 10% of my pay, was a lot considering what I was earning. Thanks again. Update. My parents want my entire paycheck. It's been a while. I kind of stopped replying to comments because they were getting overwhelming, but thanks to everyone who took the time to respond. If you didn't read or don't feel like it, basically I got my first job and my first paycheck, $500. And my parents felt like all of my money was rightfully theirs. Long story short, I ended up with $180 left out of $500, and only about $100 of that was for myself. Now for the actual update. Since my last paycheck, nothing has gotten better at all. I ended up giving my parents a total of about $200 for whatever they wanted, but they still wanted more? First, I had to pay for my own senior pictures, which was fine, but kind of surprising because none of my siblings ever had to do that. Then they started asking me for gas money. Like I had to go to the library, which is probably a 2-minute drive from my house. I would have walked, but I'm literally not allowed to. My mother yelled at me, saying that if I was going to use her car, I had to put gas in it. This would be reasonable, except they don't make anyone else do that. My 22-year-old brother actually drives their car, and my mother gives him money from my father's paycheck to put gas in it. But he's her favorite, so I guess it makes sense. Also, my father kept calling me stingy, like every day. I would just be sitting and eating dinner, and he would come to me and say, "My daughter, good at so many things, but so stingy." It started getting to me, so I tried to explain that I didn't have any more money until I got paid again. Then I got paid yesterday. It was $500 again, and I tried to hide it. I transferred the money from my bank account to my Cash App so that my father wouldn't see that I had any money. If they asked, I could play dumb. But today, when I got home, my parents started interrogating me, asking if I got paid or if I knew how much I was going to get paid. I lied and said no, but then my father literally pulled out a paper copy of my pay stub. My job still mails those out, and my parents open all my mail, packages, college letters, school forms, etc. So unless I intercept the mail constantly, they might always know how much I'm getting paid. Then my mother was mad because with my last paycheck, I paid for her pedicure, and now she wants a manicure and her hair done. I tried to tell her I didn't have money, but she refused to believe that and said that if I couldn't give her money, then I couldn't eat the food she worked so hard to make. She cooked today. So I just gave her $80 for her nails because I'm over-arguing. This is kind of a sidetrack, but it's important. My parents are arguing right now. My father is spending significantly more money out of all his paychecks because of something my Sam committed them to financially. But she still expects to keep up with all of her self-maintenance, clothes, nails, hair, etc. Long story short, she said she didn't need his money anyway, and when I sent her the money for her nails, she bragged to him about how I gave her money and not him. Then my father was upset because he thinks I only sent her money because we're both women. He said it in a harsher way, He has misogynistic tendencies from his culture. So I ended up giving him $80 to even it out and gave them both $30 extra for gas money, hoping they'd leave me alone. It should be over, right? No, it's not. Now I'm in trouble for lying about getting paid. They think I'm lying because I plan to blow it all on myself, which isn't true. I was going to save this check to make up for what I spent of the last one. But now they think I'm selfish, stingy, and financially irresponsible. So they're going to start limiting my spending of my own money. The school year and my birthday are around the corner, and I'm pretty sure they're not going to let me go out to dinner for my birthday like I planned. But that's not a money thing. I'm just not really allowed to go out. There's so much more I could say about my parents, but that could probably be 15 different posts. I don't know if they'd even be appropriate for this sub. Thanks for reading if you do. I'm sorry if this doesn't make a lot of sense. I'm just really tired. I'm over this whole thing and wish I had somewhere else to vent, but I literally don't. Thanks for listening, everyone. Edit. Thanks for all the replies. I'm trying to answer as much as I can while I'm on break. I work 6 to 4 today. So what I can't respond to now, I'll get to after work. Thanks, 33. Mother would not let me get an eating disorder diagnosis. Hi, I've been on this sub before, talking about my parents who want all my money. I'm 16, by the way. Here and here, but I thought I'd just get this story off my chest because I've never really talked about it before. So yes, as the title says, my mother refused to let me get diagnosed with an eating disorder, even though I most likely have one. I've struggled with disordered eating for a long time because body image is a really big deal in my family. To them, skinny equals healthy, even though they make fun of super skinny people too. And I was never really fat. I had a chubby face, still do, but that's about it. I was always pretty average sized or even small. But all the comments about my body compared to my older sisters, she's tall and thin and looks like a model, I love her, started to get to me. So I've been dieting and over-exercising since I was probably about 9 years old. My parents have never said anything because my dad doesn't pay attention. And my mom is weird about her body too. She's not happy with how she looks after having 3 kids. I got really bad when I was around 14, 15. And then, about a year and a half ago, I went to the doctor. I had lost over a third, close to half, of the last weight she had recorded for me, which concerned her. She started asking questions like, "Do you skip meals?" And my mother would answer for me. She would say, "Oh yeah, she definitely eats," like mocking me, which didn't make me feel better. My doctor felt like she was missing something, so she asked my mother to leave the room. She resisted for a bit, but eventually left. When my mother left the room, my doctor re-asked all the questions, and I answered honestly. That made her suspicious, so she wanted me to see a professional for a real diagnosis. She gave us the contact info and told us to come back in a month for a weight check. My mom agreed, but when we got in the car, she looked upset and asked why I would do that. I asked what she meant, and she said, "Lie and tell the doctor you have an eating disorder." I told her I wasn't lying, and she told me to be quiet. Then she asked if I wanted to get her in trouble. She thinks that CPS would be called if I were diagnosed, and said it would be really embarrassing if I got a diagnosis. She even said that eating disorders aren't real, and that eating less is how you lose weight. So I apologized, threw away the contact info for the nutritionist psychiatrist, and told her we should just forget about it and not talk about it. She agreed. When we got home, she started telling my siblings and laughing at me. She kept bringing it up, which was really embarrassing, so I started crying. My siblings weren't laughing and told her to stop, saying it might be serious. But I lied and told them the doctor was blowing it out of proportion. Then my mother called her best friend, my aunt, and told her about it. My aunt also doesn't believe in eating disorders, so she just said it was a good thing I was getting skinny. Then my mother told my father, and when he got home, he sat me down and said he was disappointed and upset that I would tell the doctor something like that, knowing it wasn't true. He said I didn't have an eating disorder and was just losing weight as people do when they mature. He also said he wasn't going to waste his money on seeing a professional to treat me for an illness that didn't even exist. So, yeah, That's it. I have an eating disorder, and only my siblings know/believe me. It's not the only time my mother has done this either. She did the same thing when the doctor recommended getting me screened for BPD, anxiety, depression, and ADHD. Basically, she does not believe in mental illness at all. Thanks for reading. If you did, 33. I'm not even sure if this is the right sub for this.